Hi there, it's Peter from the Romford Horror Film Festival, and I'm here with the filmmakers of Rueful Warrior. I have the writer-director Mark Owen.
Hello.
And the editor Emmalie El Fadli. Thanks so much for joining us, guys.
Sure, thanks for
Thank you for having us.
So this film's playing today at the festival this afternoon. Have you seen it on the big screen before?
I have, but only in the US, in Arizona, on a big complex there. So that was quite glorious to see and hear on a proper sound system. Aside from that, I think I only saw once at Emma worked in Odeon in Orpington.
But we also saw it in Leicester Square Cinema, remember?
Oh yes, we saw it in
That's the only time I saw it.
Haymarket.
Yeah, that was it.
Odeon
Yeah.
Haymarket, but it was kind of a small screen. But yeah, really good sound system.
Yeah,
So,
great.
yeah.
It's really a fun film. So tell us the premise of the film.
So essentially, Michelle Fahrenheim, the lead actress, plays a character called Eulalia, who's a female alien soldier from another planet. The premise is essentially Earth, her home planet is suffering from lack of shortage of water, and her and her team, unseen throughout the movie, have come to Earth in search of water and to basically try and obtain some to go home in a peaceful manner. She meets resistance along the way in the form of some soldiers from Earth.
Yep.
In this story, British soldiers, and conflicts ensues in a sort of respective bid for freedom and safety. They all have their own agendas, but yeah, it's an unfortunate moral and physical conflict.
Yeah, so how long did it take you to write the film? Did it come quickly, or was it something you sat on for a while, wrote gradually?
I think I had the first inception from about 2013.
Okay.
And it took about 2 years to gain some real sort of craft and sort of imagery in the form of concept art and things like that. I worked with Michelle previously on another film, and it was during lunchtime during that shoot that she asked me. She has a different recollection of this story, by the way. But my memory is that she asked me what I was doing next. I said I'm doing an action movie, and she essentially, whether she was joking or not, asked me if she could play the lead role. And I remember at the time thinking that she wouldn't be right for it because I didn't really see her in a sort of physical dominating capacity. And then I thought about it more, and I thought actually she's potentially the perfect fit because the character is a reluctant fighter. Everything's kind of last resort, self-defense against her wishes anyway. And I kind of sort of saw that tenacity in Michelle, and also she's got sort of a lot of grit physically as well. She did a bit of kickboxing, so she had some sort of physical background, and it's just a case of seeing if I could make it work through a few rehearsals, developing the narrative, of course, and kind of eventually finished as to what you see today.
Cool. So how did you go about raising the money to make the film, and how long did that take?
So the money situation I'm still paying off.
Okay.
Let's just say it's a combination of personal money, bank loan, crowdfunding. We did all sorts of avenues, to be honest. It took a fair amount to get it shot, including location fees and all sorts.
Yeah, it's not an uncommon thing for indie films.
Yeah,
Lots of different ways.
it's certainly the biggest expenditure I've had on a short film to date.
Right. Okay.
I don't really think on any other short film I'll probably even spend anywhere near this amount again. I mean, there were things I could have cut down in terms of the aesthetic of the film and certain stunts.
Right.
Some things were cut just to shorten the movie in the edit. But ultimately I said yes to everything in terms of certain fight sequences that weren't necessarily necessary for the narrative, but ultimately helped make it stand out from the crowd, as it were, and hopefully that kind of made a big difference at the end.
Yeah. So, Emily, when did you come onto the project, or when did you first meet Mark?
I met Mark when we did the crowdfunding video. So I edited the crowdfunding video, but I also starred in the crowdfunding video, which was very weird for me because I'm not an in front of the camera person. But yeah, so that's where we met, because I think you messaged me on Shooting People, I think was the website, and just asking for people to help, basically. I think that was it. And then I said, oh, I'm an editor as well, you know, if you ever need anyone, and yeah, I guess he needed somebody.
She's regretted it ever since.
Yeah.
So do you get eyes on the script early, or how far in advance of the shoot do you get involved, or do you not?
I don't get it, I don't tend, well, I mean, with this I didn't get involved with the script. You had the script done. I
can't remember. It certainly wasn't. There was a draft probably in existence by
Yeah.
then, which I.
But I don't tend to say anything about the script. Like, it's not my job to go over the script and say anything. So I just get it, and then I do the edit to the script, and then we go over it, and then you say, oh, actually, this isn't working or whatever. So, yeah.
Right. Okay. How long did it take to shoot the film?
It took 6 consecutive days, 5 in the main location, which you see in the movie.
Yes.
And the underwater fight sequence was a separate location in an underwater studio in Essex, actually.
Oh, okay.
On one day after the fire. So, yeah.
So where is the main location?
The main location is called. It's the Victoria Pump Station. Kempton Steam Museum in West London.
It's like a big water treatment.
Yeah,
isn't it? It's
honestly,
a really great location.
Everything you see is completely real.
Yeah.
The only thing that's fabricated is the propeller.
Okay.
Nice mutual coil.
I love that.
It's the propeller which was made by my prop set builds friend Johnny Paul, very talented guy, very nice guy as well. Anyway, so he created this propeller inside kind of a green board, essentially pasted it together so you don't necessarily notice it's not real, not part of the real location. That, apart from the odd signage, just sort of subtle set decor, everything you see is legit, and the underwater sequence was shot in there.
But that place was also used in like TV shows.
Yeah, it's been used by lots of films,
Yeah.
famous actors, Johnny Depp, Bruce Willis, all been shown.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, it's pretty high end.
So in the editing process, how, I mean, the obvious thing to say maybe was the writer-director probably wants to keep all the bits that they love in, and as an editor you've obviously, you know, you're not going to chop everything, but you need the film to flow, and how does that work between the two of you?
Well, as an editor with anything, I work to the script first, so I do a first pass with the script, and I follow their best takes, so like your favorite takes and stuff, I would use them first.
Right.
And then I'd show it to him, and then he'd be like, oh my god, this is not working or something. But I mean, you know, the things that you have to remove, you have to make sure that they cut together, because my biggest pet peeve is like bad continuity or something. So, you know, sometimes you just have to leave stuff in because it just doesn't work if you remove it. But I can't remember us like, apart from going from the 18-minute to the 15-minute version, I can't remember us properly removing anything from the script. I can't really.
Yeah, nothing, like maybe the odd single shot, but nothing major. I remember you being really hot on continuity, actually. You see far more continuity errors, like horrendous continuity errors in like proper Hollywood movies and big I feel like indie film spends far more attention on that, or certainly Emma does.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do because.
But I'm actually quite impressed by that, because it's a lot harder than you think.
Yeah.
It's not just sort of matching faces; it's all sorts of things going on in the background. Stuff that I'm oblivious to. So yeah, I have a lot to thank Emma for that.
So you mentioned 3 minutes were taken out from an original version. How painful is that as the person that wrote it, or do you see the benefit eventually?
Well, to be honest, sometimes I guess the biggest compliment to that process is the fact that sometimes I forget there was an 18-minute version, such as being a response to the 15-minute version in festivals.
Right.
The two things missing are essentially an extended sequence between Eulalia and the ginger-haired soldier that kind of squares up to her at the beginning. There's a slightly extended version of that interaction before everything all kicks off. And there's also a fight sequence with her on a walkway that was originally positioned between the propeller incident with the shorter soldier and the bit where she climbs up and gets blasted away by the grenade. Whether that geographically makes sense or not, no one's questioned it yet. So it was a bit. I think it's kind of a weird one when you know the actual geography of the location in your head.
Right.
It's kind of sometimes hard for me anyway to try and transport that information on screen to the audience.
Yeah, because I kept telling you, like, no one knows the map.
Yeah,
no one knows the plan of the place.
But
it's
it's kind of weird. Sometimes you feel like they go up a level, and then sometimes they're climbing upstairs again to go back to where they were. So I'm not sure if you've quite got that right, but it seemed to work. But the fight scene we cut was just kind of a bonus scene. It didn't really suffer narratively from A to B. So yeah, I felt like it was the most. And there was I almost forgot about another scene. There's a scene in the basement with pipes and smoke where some of the other soldiers reappear to try and hunt her down there. So they look great. Quite like to see them again actually. But yeah, they were unfortunately a necessary evil to exploit in the editing process for the film you see now.
So Emmalie, how long does it take? How long were you working in post to edit the film? How long
I don't even think you can ask that question. Because we weren't living together at the time. So I started months before that. No, even, oh God, it was a long time. And then we moved in together. And then we were still working on it. So I felt like, it felt like a long time.
I mean, it was essentially 2 years of post. We shot it in May 2017, and the film was ready in May 2019.
Right.
So that, I mean, obviously you weren't editing every day. We definitely needed some holiday and sanity.
Because I was going to say that's the big thing about editing as well. With I think a lot of indie films is you need time to just not look at it for a long time, and I think that's what we did. We took a break from it, and then when we came back, there were loads of changes that you wanted done, which makes sense. So
I think also there are a huge number of visual effects shots. So obviously they take time, and then you have to readjust them in the sequence, and there's a whole process of waiting to some extent with various things. But yeah, post-production as a whole, with all the music and the sound as well, and the grading, that all kind of came into play through various factors. But yeah, 2 years was pretty much the entire post-production process.
What's your next project? Have you got?
We just finished Sailor Moon, right?
Oh yeah, we've just finished another drama that we shot end of 2019.
You shot it.
Well, Emma edited it, made it look good. That's hopefully going to hit the festival circuit in due course.
Yep.
We're writing a project together, which we probably can't say much about, but it's essentially hopefully something for everyone in terms of a bit of action, a bit of horror, drama, all sorts of stuff coming together. But it's hopefully going to be a new kind of exciting project, and we hope to have really high aspirations for it in terms of its distribution and audience, and then we just sort of have a few individual projects that we kind of write and bounce off each other as well. But yeah, keeping busy, I think.
What was some of your inspirations for this film? Is there any films that either one of you had in mind?
He's got
one or two, maybe.
Well, if you've seen the movie, you'll undoubtedly see some. Yeah, there's a lot of fight references like Indiana Jones and Die Hard in terms of 80s guns and fists style.
Yeah.
There aren't actually, despite it being a sci-fi feel and setting, there aren't really too many sci-fi influences that kind of made that its own thing. I mean, the moral of the story is, of course, the futility of war, which doesn't really need a sci-fi backdrop for that message to be told.
Yeah.
It was all about Eulalie as a character and seeing her kind of sort of feel like she's in a sense of desperation before things even kick off. I mean, you know, her introduction, as soon as she sees the soldiers, you know, she's outnumbered 7-1. She probably has a sort of unofficially at least a kind of feeling that it's not looking good for her, but it's all about kind of just perceiving and showing that determination against the odds.
Great stuff. Mark and Emmalie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
I hope you enjoyed seeing the film on the big screen today.
Yeah.
Look forward to it.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.